Hey guys, how are you faring on? I hope you're doing fine. Welcome to today's video. This is one of the random videos that we do hold, and as you can tell, I want to talk about three things. Today is on the 12th of September, the year 2024, and we are remaining with only about 18 days to the end of the fiscal year as per the United States government in matters DV lottery. And that only means we are nearing the verge of three main events in the DV lottery program. We are nearing the end of the fiscal year 2024. That is the end of the DV lottery 2024. And we are about to start the year 2025. And that means the beginning of the interviews for the DV Lottery 2025 winners. And the third one is we are just about to begin applying the DV Lottery 2026. So we are nearing the verge of these three main events. And I've seen it good that we talk about these three events, especially at this time. And we shall start without any delay with the DV Lottery 2024 that is about to come to an end. And to begin with this talk, I want to go through the current progress. And I've been looking at the current progress of many embassies, and in general, DV 2024 has not been a bad DV lottery program. 2024 has not been a bad year, that is generally speaking, but let us look for some few embassies here and there. And on the same note, I know that for the region of Africa, it became current to the list of the expectation of majority of us. We did not expect it to happen, though it happened. And that means that majority of people that were beyond the case numbers that would otherwise have been impossible to get scheduled for that interview, they ended up getting the interviews scheduled. And I've been handling cases up to 119,000 from Africa. Just the other day, I was dealing with that individual all the way from Zambia. And I have others up to 122,000 having received their 2NL. So you see, those very high case numbers have gotten a chance of getting interviewed. But on the contrary, we've seen others with very low case number also not getting their second verification letters. And that is because I had earlier discussed on this issue, and it is because the embassies, they decided to screw them. And that means they ended up not getting their interview scheduled, even though they would have been scheduled if they were in a better performing embassy. But this is DV program, and we have different embassies across the globe. Anything can happen, and we admit everything that happens because we can do nothing, or we can do so little to change the situation. Now, I have been looking at several embassies. Like, let's start with Africa, because Africa is the region that is highly affected by these issues of delays. And when I looked at an embassy like Lomé, Togo, I saw that they have gone so high, up to 73,000 in terms of interviews. You see, that's a good number for Lomé, Togo. And when I looked at Cairo, we know for Cairo, it is always capped at a number. They cannot exceed some numbers. And that does not mean that it cannot handle high case numbers beyond the cap from other countries. But as I was checking, Cairo also have gone up to 50,000 in terms of interview scheduling. And the Johannesburg has done a good job as well. And I can see as of last week, they were as high as 120 in terms of 2NL. That is so good for Johannesburg Embassy. And you can take many examples from Africa. And also we have this bad example, the obvious one that we know of, that is the Accra Embassy in Ghana. And they are still at around 17,000 of those cases that have been scheduled. And most likely, this 17,000, you might find it not from within Ghana, because we have seen them interviewing up to 10,700. So the highest with the 2NL is 17,089 as the case number, but they have interviewed up to 10,000 in terms of case number. Very poorly, very poorly. The other one we can talk of is Kigali, Rwanda is another embassy that is not well performing, as well as the Addis embassy. For Kigali, there are upwards of 36,000. That is not so good for Kigali embassy. That is, the person with the 2NL is at 36,799. And of course, when I look at Nairobi performed really well, and we have interviews up to 122 getting their interviews soon. We've seen 120 being interviewed. So Nairobi embassy has been doing good. Now, when I go to the busy embassy in Asia, that is the Kathmandu embassy, we see them doing very well. They are at 11,363. That is the highest case number with the second notification letter. That is not bad for Asia. That is quite good for Asia, knowing that they are also placed at a cap. That is a very good number. And I was looking at the embassies across Europe, and for Europe, there is no big problem. They are doing good. They are doing as per required. So the only region that faces a lot of issues is Africa. And sometimes we get some embassies in Asia not doing good, but not always. But for Africa, we never lack an embassy that is poorly performing. So that's about it. But let me discuss this now, still on the DV Lottery 2024. In this last month, that is September, normally the consulates or the embassies would tend to focus much on the refused visa under the 221G category. And that's where you find the number of scheduled interviews across the embassies in the month of September usually drops. So you'll find less interviews scheduled for the month of September to give room for the processing of 221G visa refusal. And this can clearly tell you that if you are this person that ended up in the 221G visa refusal, you need to act accordingly and as faster as you can. if you were requested for any document that you had omitted in the proof document, you need to submit it immediately. If anything is required of you out of the 221G visa refusal, just comply with that quickly without delay, because we are remaining with very few days to the end of the fiscal year. Another thing, and I keep on telling you because I've dealt with individuals that have done the same that I'm telling you, you shouldn't give up pestering the embassy regarding your case. You should keep them on toes. You should always contact them as much as possible to follow up on your 221G visa case. In any case, they have many cases to deal with, and they might end up not reaching your case. But if you keep on inquiring of the progress of your case, I've seen others getting their visas being processed faster. Another guy, even up to the last day, the 30th of September, and was approved of his visa. So don't stop pestering them. Don't keep silent. Follow up on your case. We are continuing with this conversation, so catch the other part in the next video.